Watch what's approaching, the supreme moment. Reality striking closer than it seems, don't it? Go ahead, it's for the taking if you want it. If not, the dream dies and you'll be forever haunted. Then confront it.
What's good? This week has been ridiculously busy, but I did want to provide commentary for this unit because I am personally liking this guy a lot, and the fact that it's a free-to-play unit makes it even better. And quite honestly, yeah, the abilities and skill sets for this unit is quite interesting. I will go ahead and tell you that I went with level 15 additional attack and level 11 for criticals with the potential system with this guy. And I'll explain why here in a second, but let's just go ahead and cover the overall stats and abilities of the unit. So this, again, is the free-to-play Extreme Strength type Cumber unit. Leader skill is Dragon Ball Heroes category key plus 3 HP attack and defense increase of 50%. Not really relevant, but it'll probably apply in certain situations where you do require that category. Now for the super attack, does have the Kaioken mechanic where you have the ability to stack attack and defense. So with every super attack, you do have the ability to raise attack and defense along with causing supreme damage to enemy. The passive skill is where things get really interesting. Key plus 2 and attack and defense increase of 50%. And then extreme class allies attack and defense increase of 20% when attacking, and then super type enemies attack and defense minus 20% after receiving attack. And launches an additional super attack when the enemy attacks first. So with that being said, you obviously want this guy to be in the first slot, being attacked by whoever is ahead of you in position. Because of that, you know, the built-in passive skill and the ability to raise attack and defense, that's why I went with level 11, or level 15 additional attack and level 11 criticals. I went with a heavier focus on additional attack for this unit. Now, in terms of links, you've got Saiyan Warrior Race, that's attack increase of 700. Tough as Nails is defense increase of 1500. Saiyan Lineage plus 1 key. Brutal Beatdown is 10% to attack. Fear and Faith plus 2 key. Prepare for Battle is plus 2 key, and then Shattering the Limit is also plus 2 key. And this unit does fall into 3 categories: Pure Saiyans, Time Travelers, and Dragon Ball Heroes. At 100% potential, as you saw earlier, the max stats is HP at 8,812, attack is 11,413, and defense is 6,695. 12 key multiplier looks to be 140%. So this showcase is more or less entirely on the Infinite Dragon Ball history on one run. And in terms of the team I utilized, I really went with a Time Travelers category that really would just mesh together. So I didn't really bring in support units that would boost up the Cumber unit's attack necessarily. The focus more so is on defense for this unit on this particular showcase. So of course you do see the free-to-play version of the Extreme Agility ARMS unit. That unit is actually pretty decent for a free-to-play as well. Passive skill is attack and defense increase of 50%, along with extreme type allies getting key plus 2 and defense increase of 30%. Along with that, artificial life form categories also get an attack increase of 30%. It doesn't apply to the Cumber unit because he doesn't fall into that category, but you know, along with that passive skill, the unit does have the ability to also lower attack and defense. So in my opinion, that's also a very good free-to-play unit. Now, I don't really have necessarily have a reason as to why I linked up the Cumber unit with the Goku Black. It's more so because I didn't want Goku Black to lose out on a rotation, so I kind of wanted to keep him on a rotation every other turn, basically to stack that defense, because he does have the ability to greatly raise defense with every super attack. And also keep that in mind in comparison to the free-to-play Cumber's defense, because at some point you will see Cumber's defense actually do get to a close number in comparison to the Goku Black unit. So that'll be also interesting to note ahead of time, because you will see that toward the later parts of the video. Other units, I mean, I included were like the Strength Super Saiyan Rose unit. Of course, that unit does provide extreme type allies with key plus 3 defense increase of 50%, and then super type enemies get attack and defense decrease of 20%. The other one is First Form Cell. I really included this unit mainly for the Shattering the Limit link skill, because obviously plus 2 key does help out. And I was actually curious about how this unit does, because the defense increase of 20,000 is a flat rate, but I was actually curious how that would apply. And this unit will get a critical hit guaranteed if the enemy has an attack down status. So that was also another one where I was a little bit curious about, because the other units do have the ability to lower the enemy's attack. So I thought that was quite interesting. Goku Black, LR Goku Black, really, I just included that because obviously the unit links well with the other Rose units, and I was also curious as to how the Cumber units passive skill would help out some of these other, type harder hitting units. So that's really more or less that's why that unit was included. I think the highlight of this showcase, from my perspective anyway, is not necessarily on the attack side or offensive side. It's more so how beneficial this unit is to his own defense, but also to the team overall. So if we go back to the stats, I mean, he does get at least a 50% increase toward defense, along with the key boost, which helps, and attack increase of 50%, obviously. But along with that, I mean, extreme type allies get attack and defense increase of 20% when attacking. So of course, the other units in the rotation get a boost out of that. Along with that, when applicable, super type enemies, attack and defense decrease of 20% after receiving an attack. So of course, not every single enemy you face is going to have the ability to have their attack lowered, but at least for most cases, in my opinion, you are able to lower a majority of enemies' defense. So that still does have some beneficial value. The other thing too is the fact that this guy can defend pretty well, along with the passive and continued stacking of the attack and defense. Essentially you get a guaranteed super attack. Additionally, if the enemy attacks first. So in case you haven't noticed already, this guy is pretty much always on the first slot within every rotation, hoping for an attack coming from the enemy before he actually attacks. So that's really the focal point, I think, is how beneficial, or not how beneficial, but more so like how good his defense actually is, and how you can actually get his defense stats in a realistic setting. Because the Infinite Dragon Ball History event, it's a long enough event to where it's more difficult than Boss Rush, but it's definitely easier than the Legendary Goku event. So it's kind of a good balance, and it takes enough time to where you actually do see a difference in the stacking abilities of units. So I do like to test certain units in this type of scenario, or I don't know, more so a controlled environment, I guess you could say. But yeah, I mean, 154,000 defense, obviously a little bit less than Goku Black's 254,000 in defense, but whenever you do have some other units that provide a defensive boost, it's actually quite beneficial. So, again, ARMS is providing, I believe, a 30% boost to defense for extreme type allies. So definitely some beneficial value there, along with a key boost. Unfortunately, he doesn't fall into the artificial life forms category, so he doesn't get that 30% attack boost. But the like 293,000, at the end of the day, it's not much. It's very little in damage, but this guy can defend pretty well, and that's where the beneficial value is added, I think. Along with providing support, semi-support to the rest of the team. That's really where I see a lot of value in this unit. And I saw the stats, and yeah, I was like, I'm going to Rainbow this guy immediately, just because I'm very interested in this unit and I really want to test him out. And of course, I could have brought in different units that boosted the unit's attack based on passive skills and leader skills and whatever the case is, because there were honestly, there were plenty of other options within this category where I could have brought in certain units that would have helped out. But I really wanted to bring in a more, I guess, realistic team, like what I would honestly run on an event like this if I was actually trying to clear it, instead of superficially or forcefully bringing in units just to support the unit. So in this case, in this particular showcase for the free-to-play Cumber unit, I really did want to focus on a practical sense, I guess, more than anything. And hopefully you guys kind of see that in that perspective, and can respect that to a certain degree. But yeah, I mean, overall, this guy's pretty good. Yeah, I think he's a solid unit. He's worthwhile the grind. He did take a pretty decent amount of damage there from the super attack, but we are against the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, which is a pretty strong unit. But in terms of like the other attacks, like normal attacks, I would expect very little in damage taken in comparison to 200,000 damage from the super attack. So again, this, like, I really rate this guy pretty highly. I think he's definitely very good as a really balanced type unit. Balance isn't necessarily the right word, but he can, offensively get his attack stats high enough to where it's, it does make some sort of difference. Defensively, that's, I think, where he does, the best in. And then along with that, either, lowering the enemy's attack or defense, or providing a benefit to the rest of the team with the attack and defense, increased percentages. There's a lot of layers to this unit where it's quite interesting. And if you don't plan on rainbowing this unit, I would certainly just get max SA and at least unlock the 4 dupe pats. That's the very minimum you should do. You get drop rates, percentage increases based on getting the Dragon Ball Heroes category team, and it's honestly not that difficult to grind. So I would definitely recommend you do so. As you saw, it was 300,000 with the defensive stats at this point. So yeah, I mean, this guy can definitely show some good numbers. So hopefully, hopefully you guys found this helpful and enjoyed the video. As always, I do appreciate you watching. Definitely stay tuned for the next one, and I'll catch you guys later. All right, peace out.